Welcome to WhippoorwillHoller. I'm Miss Lori and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. Keepers of the old way, but accept some of the new. We love to cook and we love to eat. We love to garden. It's in our blood. It's how we stay sustainable and fill our pantry. We do a lot of canning and preserving. We live a sustainable life. We love our family. We work hard. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So y'all join us. Well, hi everybody. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Miss Lori and you are at WhippoorwillHoller Homestead. If you've been with me a while, welcome back. Well, today's going to be just a little bit different video. We're going to be showing y'all how we take care of some of our cast iron. And it's usually what we're going to be taking care of is a small Dutch oven that we cook with outside and another bigger pot that we cook with outside. And the thing of it is, we want to get them ready so we can start cooking outside. They've been set up all summer. They need to be cleaned. The little bitty Dutch oven, cast iron Dutch oven, has got a little bit of rust on it, but nothing bad. And I'm really wanting to use it cooking outside. It's just the right size. It's just a size 8 for me, Mr. Brown. I can make a pie in it. I can make a cobbler in it. Just, you know, a small dish in it. And then we got our big pot. Our big potbelly pot's what Mr. Brown calls it. And it is brand new and hasn't been used yet. It's pre-seasoned. But before you use it the first time, you really got to get a good scald on it and get it good and clean and boil it out good and clean it and get it ready to cook in. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're also, to begin with, you're going to come along and watch me cook for the first time since we've started the wood cook stove up, cooking our supper on it. I'm going to be making some chicken fajitas on my wood cook stove. And also, I have, and I know a lot of y'all have different ways of how you clean your pots and pans. I have a cast iron ceramic coated Dutch oven that I've had about 5 years, and y'all have seen me cook so much in that thing. Also do a lot of canning in it. Anything from I think the worst thing that I probably done was made blueberry pie filling in it and stained the bottom of it. But anyways, I haven't used it in a while. I've had it set up with the lid on it and just had it back in the cabinet. But I decided that I'm going to get it out today, and I need to clean the bottom up. Well, the inside, the bottom of the inside, because it is stained up so bad. Oh, it's clean, but it's stained up really bad and looks awful. That's why you don't see me use it on my videos anymore, because it needs a good cleaning. So I'm going to show y'all how I'm going to do that, and I hope I can get most of the stains out of it. I may not get all of it out, but I'm going to get most of it. And it's very easy how I'm going to go about doing it. And anybody that has any of their own remedies of cleaning their ceramic coated cast iron, let us know, because it gets stained up pretty bad. So anyways, let's get started cooking on the wood cook stove. We're going to be making chicken fajitas tonight. And I've got 2 pretty good size chicken breasts here. You can use chicken thighs if you want to. And I like to take my chicken and cut it up in strips. If there's any kind of fat or skin on it, you can kind of trim that off. And when I'm cutting on any kind of meat, cutting into fajita strips, I make sure that I cut against the grain. That way you have a good tender piece of meat and not a chewy piece of meat. To cut it against the grain. When I make fajitas, I try to make enough for some leftovers. That way we can have something for our lunch the next day. Fajitas is a really easy throw together supper. The hardest part about making fajitas is just cutting your meat up. And a lot of times you can find fajita meat already cut up in the meat department. And these old thick breasts like this, they make quite a bit of meat. Quite a bit of fajita meat. So you just kind of look at your chicken or your piece of beef or whatever you're using, and just look whichever way the grain's running, and then cut it against the grain. I'm fixing to cut up some bell peppers. I've got an orange, and I've got a red, and I've got a yellow bell pepper. And I'm just going to take them and I'm just going to slice them up in strips. Sometimes if I've got some fresh mushrooms, I'll slice them up and throw them in my fajitas. I'm just kind of using tonight just whatever I've got in the refrigerator. I didn't go out and buy anything special. And those bell peppers, they have a lot of seeds in them. I put up quite a few green bell peppers this summer out of the garden. I'm just going to finish cutting up my bell peppers in strips, and then I'm going to cut up probably a large onion. I'm going to cut it up in strips. Now I've got my wood cook stove, and I've got it all heated up really good to start cooking my fajita meat. Now when I cook on my wood cook stove, I got to make sure that I've got a pretty good fire going, and that I keep the heat as even as possible. And I've got a 15-inch cast iron skillet that I use when I'm cooking quite a bit of meat or anything like that. It's a good size when you got a good portion that you're trying to cook. And I just want to cook these strips till they're done through and through. And I'm going to season my meat just a little bit. I'm going to put just a little bit of black pepper. And you have to be careful what pots and pans and what utensils you use on your wood cook stove, because the heat gets pretty intense sometimes. I'm going to put a little bit of salt. And I'm just going to stir this around a little bit, and I'm going to let it get almost done, and then I'm going to throw my peppers and onions in. And you can tell that by the color that the chicken's almost done. And what I'm doing is I'm just using a prepackaged taco seasoning. It's something I had in the pantry, and I just grabbed it, and I'm just going to sprinkle that all over my chicken. I'm going to use the whole package. Or you can use your own homemade taco seasoning. I do have a video on that. So I use that whole package of taco seasoning, and I'm just going to stir this around. And then I'm going to throw my peppers and my onions in here and let them saute just a little while. I like for my bell peppers and onions to be just a little bit, have a little bit of crunch to them. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. But that taco seasoning will give this chicken a really good taste. I'm a little bit picky about my taco seasoning. I like Taco Bell, or I like my own homemade taco seasoning. I'm going to put just a little bit more olive oil over my chicken and in the pan. And then I'm going to add my peppers and my onions. That was a whole big onion. And I'm just going to stir this around. And I'm just going to let all this cook until the onions and the bell peppers start to get a little bit tender. Kind of wilt down just a little bit, but not too much. And at this point, if you've got some mushrooms or anything like that, you can throw in here. That taco seasoning, it'll get mixed in with my onions and my bell peppers and kind of season those too. And it's just about that easy. That's just how simple we like our fajitas. I like simple recipes sometimes like this. We're going to be using flour tortillas. This is a black clay camal, and it just, all you do with it is just, it's used to heat your tortillas up, whether if it's corn or flour. You don't put any oil, any grease on it at all. You just leave it dry and let it heat up. Let it get really hot. Our fajitas are getting done and looking really good. Smell delicious. Now that's really hot. I can't hardly touch it. So I'm just going to put my tortilla on there with it, like I said, no oil. This right here is what I put my tortillas up, and this is a you put it on either, you can put it on a wood cook stove or you can put it on a gas cook stove. It just kind of keeps whatever your pots or pans or whatever from getting too hot. And you just let them kind of warm on that side and turn them over. I love this thing. It works so well. Okay, our fajitas is done. Looking good. Our tortillas are heated up and in their little pouch here, staying warm. I gathered up whatever I had in the refrigerator to put on our fajitas. We've got tomatoes, sour cream, cheese. We got some jalapenos and some salsa verde. And there it is. There is our chicken fajitas. And they look good and were really... When you plan on cooking on your wood cook stove, now our wood cook stove is a Pioneer made. I think it's a 2014. I may be wrong on that. But we took the back off. It did have a big back, some of y'all remember, and it had a shelf up here. Well, the big back kept, you know, kind of the sitting area and our dining area just kind of blocked off from each other. Plus the shelf just gathered dust and really didn't do much with it. So we decided to just take it off and it opened that area up. But this stove heats our little house, and I can bake in it and I cook on it during the winter time. But when you plan on cooking, like the fajitas that I cooked, you can go ahead and cook on it. But when you want to really get a good scald on something, if you're baking in your oven, going to bake, or if you're needing to get, say, some grease really hot, or you got to get that pan that you're cooking in just really, really hot. There's something that I have to do on this stove, and that's that I have to go back in here in the back, and I take this handle and I push it all the way in, and what that does is it shuts that off from the chimney, so that every bit of that heat in this firebox comes up and over the oven. So what that's going to do is it's going to cause this to get really hot so I can really cook on it good. Or if I'm baking in the oven, all that heat's coming up and going over that oven and down and around, so I'm able to bake in the oven. But if this is open like it is right now, we're just warming the house, got wood in it, and it's open. Some of that heat's going out the chimney. But when you shut that off, it's all staying in here and going over your oven and making the top of this really hot. So when I'm really needing to do some really major cooking or cooking in the oven, I shut the back off.
So it's Saturday morning. It's a cloudy day, but it's a beautiful day. It's about 50 degrees, somewhere around 50. And we've had some rain, and we've had quite a bit of rain, a couple of inches maybe. I had a little trouble getting a fire started this morning. I had to use a little bit of wet kindling, but I got it going. And we have a pre-seasoned pot made by Bruntmore, and it's an African podgy. It's an 8 quart. It's got the tall legs on it. A beautiful pot. It's got what I'd call a pot-belly look to it. And we're going to boil some water in it for a good while and get the inside good and clean and boiled up so we can get ready to cook in it. The word podgy is an African word that means food cooked in a pot. That's basically what it means. And when the fire gets really burnt down, the coals get good and going, we're going to set her on there and give her about 3/4 full of water, and we're going to let her boil for a while. So this 8 quart pot, we got a fire going, some good coals, and you don't want it to get too hot before we start pouring water in it. And we're going to just let it boil, and any impurities that's inside the pot, we're going to clean it up. We're going to fill it about 3/4 full, about right there, and we're going to let it boil. We decided to hang it up instead of setting it right down in the coals for right now. We got another little pot we're going to maybe season a little bit. We got a little number 8. It needs to be seasoned out. We're just going to throw it in the fire. It's getting a little rusty. We'll clean it up a little bit and throw it in the fire.
That's a good one for just when it's just me and you.
Little pot.
Little pot for just about anything.
You know what I had in this last winter?
What'd you have in it?
Cedar shavings.
Oh.
Cedar shavings to start a fire. But I'm going to pull little coals around there in a minute, and we're going to set it down there in it. Roll it around and let her cook.
We're not going to put any oil on it first.
No.
We'll do that after it's cleaned good, and then we'll... How long do we let this boil once it comes to a boil?
I'd say until the water gets just about You don't want it to go plumb dry, but just let it boil until about all the water evaporates. And we're gonna set the lid on it too when it gets going good.
That'll be a little while. Good day for it though.
So far the wind ain't got up. So I ended up working on this little pot also out there. Ended up boiling water in it. Boiled water in that other one, the big potbelly stove pot, I call it. About 4 hours of boiling water. And it looks like it cleaned up really well. And I come in, I didn't use no soap or nothing on them. I just took them to the sink and roughed, not no, you don't know real rough pad, but just a little scrub pad, and cleaned them up. And then I put them on top of the wood stove over here to let them heat up and dry off. You want them to dry really well. If you don't do that, you can put them on top of your stove and just let them heat up. Just as long as they get heated up and all the water gets evaporated. And now I'm taking a little olive oil and working it over. You don't have to put an excessive amount. You just want them coated good where they won't try to rust on you. And put just a little more in this. If you was going to store them a really long time and not use them, I guess most people recommend like something like Crisco, don't they? Olive oil, I guess, does a really good job for us. You know, back in the day, they didn't have Crisco, they had the hog lard, wasn't it? So, but they used them a lot. They claim that hog lard will go rancid after a while. I don't know. Trying to get these tops good where it had been rusty and this one here was in rougher shape. It wouldn't hurt for it to be seasoned a few times.
How long did you leave it out in the coals? Couple hours?
Yeah, I left this. I switched it a little bit back and forth, a couple hours, letting it cook and do its thing. And then took actually some hot water out of the big pot, and that's because it was really already boiling, and put it on. Then I set it on top of the coals and put water in it, and it boiled for, well, it almost boiled it dry. When I went out and checked it a while ago, it was just almost dry. Didn't like much. If we start using this one, I'm gonna go ahead and put some on the outside of this one, just because it's rusty.
Yeah, this one needs it too. A light coat. I know there's all different kinds of ways that people take care of the cast iron. These are already pre-seasoned, so all we're doing is just taking care of it, so to store them, plus to use them, to get them ready to use, to cook outside.
I'm gonna put it pretty thick on this one. Now then, we could take this and put it in the oven if we wanted to, or back on the fire.
Put it on top of the wood cook stove.
And let it season a few times too. This one here was bought used, and we never have used it to cook in.
It was pre-seasoned though. It just needed cleaned up really good.
Yeah, it's not been taken care of, you know.
It's just the right size for me and you. It's an 8-inch. For not wanting to cook a big batch of something, or just wanting to cook a cobbler or something like that.
I could throw my bacon and eggs and cook in here.
Yeah.
On the campfire, couldn't I?
We got different sizes, and pretty much all of them are pre-seasoned, because we've used them, and we haven't used them in a while though.
No, this one here.
But like I said, everybody's got their own way of doing it. And
well, they actually take them when if they haven't been pre-seasoned, and this one here probably needs to be redone. Maybe we'll see what it does when we cook in it. But they cold them and they put them in the oven for 3 hours for 350 degrees.
But this one's been in the fire in the coals, and now that it's been through that and washed and now rubbed down with olive oil, we can put it on top of the cook stove, and it'll
season it.
It'll season it good enough for us to use now.
Very good. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
So, especially if you're going to use it often, it's not as big a deal. But if you're going to store for a little while, maybe not use it for a while. Once you have your cast iron new or used, whatever, and you get it seasoned good and you oil it down, you want to put a gap between the lid and the edges so it can get air inside. So we can get some air inside there. A lot of times a piece of cardboard works really well. I just didn't have none handy. There it is. I'm gonna go let it just warm a few minutes. And now for the big boy. This one here is really in good shape, but it's brand new. Nice.
It's dark down there. There it is.
Pretty hot. been on that stove. I'm not going to put a heavy, just going to put a light coat in here. For this new pre-season, we just don't want it to rust, and it probably won't, but right away.
The best thing to do for these is go ahead and cook in them several times. That seasons them up really well, just to cook in them. That thing right there, it's an 8-quart, like you said, and that'll cook quite a bit in there. Now they also have a 10-quart too.
And there would feed several people's roast.
Big pot of stew, chili, beans, roast. Yeah, they got a 10-quart too, just like it. I just didn't think we needed one that big, but this size right here is in my Amazon store under homesteading.
It is a heavy pot.
It is very heavy.
It is heavy.
It'll last a long time if we take care of it.
Well, the outside of this really don't need it, but I got just, it's still warm. I'm gonna put just a little bit on there. Nothing extra. Got pretty warm on that wood stove. It's good for them. Put it on there when it's warm.
Just never take one of your hot Dutch ovens or anything like that, cast iron, and put cold water in it.
Not while she's hot.
Not while she's hot.
The little leg there is really hot.
Podgy? Is that how you say it? Podgy?
Podgy.
Podgy. They cook over there in Africa in different places, and
that's the name for it.
These cauldrons like this, they call it podgy, which means, what does it mean?
Cook in a pot.
Cooking in a pot.
Basically food cooked in a pot like this.
Food cooked in a pot. Let me tell you something, you could cook a lot of food in that pot right there. And it's not it's not a name brand. I mean, it's not nothing like Lodge or your old-fashioned antique Wagner's or nothing like that. It's a Bruntmore.
Yep.
Bruntmore makes them.
I'm gonna call it Burntmore all the time. Can't think of it. I like the design of it.
It'll last us a long time.
It'll last our kids a long time.
Yeah. I've got enough cast iron
For the neighborhood a couple
of times for them to everybody decide what they want. It's been pretty warm here. I mean, at night it'll get kind of cool, but today we've been burning up in this house because we've tried to keep a fire going in the wood cook stove. So I've had windows and the door open because I've been cleaning the house and doing different odd things in the house.
I've been playing with pots all day.
He's been playing with pots and tried to get his wood splitter started.
Got that done.
Won't be long we'll have to start cutting wood for
Geese flying today over more.
next year.
Yeah, normally I've been started by now, but I hadn't.
Well, you only got how many days till retirement?
I got 12 days.
12?
12 work days.
So you'll have all the time in the world to be cutting wood.
Yeah. There you are. I think she's in good shape.
I do too. I think she's pretty.
Looks good.
After cooking with my cast iron skillet here, this skillet, I'm going to say this skillet is 50 years or older. Now this is not a Wagner or a Griswold, nothing like that. It was just an off-brand that It fried a lot of chicken in here. Done a lot of cooking on a big stove. But all I do is I just get me some hot sudsy water and wash it real good, but then I rinse it really, really well. So what I do now is I'm just going to take some olive oil. I either use olive oil or I use rapeseed oil. And I just coat it real lightly. You don't want it on there real thick. This is a 15-inch iron skillet. And we like to use this when we're cooking, you know, on the wood cook stove, or if we're cooking outside over an open fire, because it's big, it's got a lot of room. So it's done a lot of cooking. So that's all I do, and I'll also do the sides and on the bottom too. But I just do a light coat. Then I hang it up with the rest of my cast iron. Okay, so we're here at the sink. And I'm going to show y'all my pot. I know y'all that have been with me a while remember this pot, and it's heavy. That's all I can do to hold it up. But you see how stained up it is. Oh, Miss Lori, that looks horrible. It does. But it's clean, believe it or not. But we're going to work on trying to get at least most of this stain out of here. Like I said, I use this thing for everything. And I always cleaned it up good. But just never took the time to make sure that I got all the stains out. So that's what we're fixing to do. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to let my water run just a little bit so it gets hot. But I've got baking soda. And I'm going to spread it pretty thick on the bottom of this pan, or this pot. Pretty thick. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take enough hot water just to make a paste. Let's see what that does. Yeah. You just want to make a paste. That's all I'm going to do. That's all the water I'm going to put on there. I'm not going to put any more. Just about that much. I'm going to let this sit. I'm probably going to let this sit for about an hour before I come back and put a good scrub to it. I don't want to use a harsh scrubber. I don't want to put any salt or anything that will scratch the bottom up really bad. I'm just going to use one of these soft scrubbers. It's even bad around the sides. And if I can get the bottom is clean, you know, cleaner, get some of them stains off. It is clean, like I said. It's just stained up really bad. And I know there's all different ways. You can put vinegar and put it on the stove and boil it, and put it on the stove, put hot water and boil it, put vinegar in it, all that stuff. I'm going to try it this way and see how much stain we can get off there. Because if I can do it this way without doing all the other steps, I think I like that better. But you know, I didn't grow up this kind of cooking pot. We didn't know what ceramic anything was. Cast iron and what was it called? Some kind of a clubware or something like that. It was real, or stainless steel, but we never had nothing like this. But to me, cast iron is one of the easiest things to clean. But the ceramic coated is not. It stains really bad. But I tell you, I love cooking. I love cooking in my ceramic coated pots. And y'all have seen my other one that I use. And it's not bad, but it's still got a few stains that I need to kind of work on. But I cook in this thing all the time, and I love it. It's got a good heavy lid for it, and it does need to be cleaned up. In fact, I may put some baking soda on the bottom of this one, let it hang around for a while too, since I'm doing this other one. So let's give this about an hour, then we'll come back and we'll start scrubbing on it. Well, you can see that the baking soda did not work very well, and I even used Barkeeper's Friend on it, and it still looks horrible with the stains. If anybody has any idea, any advice on how I can get this clean, please leave in the comments below, because I would really like to get these stains off of my good pot, my cast iron ceramic Dutch oven. I would like to get it cleaned up, so just let me know. And here they are, looking good and ready to cook in, and I can't wait because I love to cook outdoors. I hope y'all love this video. Just a little bit of information that some people that have been asking us about how we keep care of our cast iron. So y'all stay with us. We'll do a little bit of cooking, a little bit of working, and even a little bit of dancing. So y'all stick around. Y'all come back and see us, because we're always doing something around here on this homestead. We even like having a little bit of fun sometimes. God bless everybody.